tell you a little bit like the history about my tribe, Pawnee Nation. I think we're fortunate in that we have a lot of, we're probably one of the fewer tribes that has a lot of archaeology that can back up like our oral history and stories and even songs. I don't know, I think we're kind of unique that way. And in my job that I do, I'm fortunate that I'm exposed to a lot of information that most people in the tribe, they don't see a bigger picture. They don't get all the pieces of the pie like I do. So our tribe, our origin story says that we come from the union of the evening star and the morning star. And the evening star is a woman, and the morning star is a man. And the creation, the power that created everything is Titawa, Tias Titawa these days. But it, whether it's a he or she or whatever, it made everything, and then it made these star beings, and really wasn't satisfied. So then it kind of compelled or asked the morning star and the evening star to create people. And so the evening star, she put all kinds of obstacles and things in the path of morning star. And he overcame all these. And there were things like mythical creatures, kind of giants and all kinds of supernatural animals and things like that. And he overcame all of these. And then as he crossed the sky and came into the western sky where evening star lives, and then they had the first Pawnee woman or girl, and she was put on the earth at a very specific spot up in Nebraska near a town called Palmer. It's not right at Palmer, but it's near there. And she was put down on the earth in a tornado. That's how she descended from the sky. And so after that, then the sun and the moon, the sun is a man, the moon is a woman. They created the first Pawnee man, and then he descended to the earth in a tornado. And from those two people, all of us Pawnees are descended. And so a long, long time ago, in what I would call ancient history, there were probably tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of us that lived on the plains. At one time, you could find our settlements anywhere from, say, central Kansas all the way up into northern South Dakota. And we find archaeology that's related to us, whether it's pottery or post holes from earth lodges, which is our traditional house. And then there's also Pawnee ancestors that lived along the Missouri River, but in Iowa on the eastern side, and then all the way over to the front range of the Colorado Rockies. In fact, one of our sacred sites, you can actually visit it now because it's Pikes Peak, and they have a visitor center on top of it and things. Something that we would never have done as a people, but the United States did that. So that spot is unique. It's like the western edge of our nation, our physical nation. And it's unique because that evening star, she came back and she visited the earth, and the top of that mountain is where she actually came and touched down. And when she was there, she met a Chaui man, which I'll get to here in a minute. But she met this Chaui man, and she gave him our corn seeds, and then showed him like the source of buffalo, which comes out of a cave near that mountain. And he brought those things back to the people, and that's what really helped us, our population increase so well. So that's why that's a sacred site to us. It's one of maybe, off the top of my head, about 8 or 9 sacred areas. There's a couple in Kansas. The rest of them are in Nebraska. Our tribe, our nation, it's made up of, it's kind of a confederation. A long, long time ago, we were really 4 kind of independent tribes. The Chaui, which is my band, the Pitahawidata, the Kitkahaki, and the Skidi. Now, eventually, over time, the United States kind of comes into the picture. So in the early 19th century, when they would make treaties with us, they would make a treaty with each one of those, what has now become a band. And then in the 1850s, I guess they got tired of writing four copies of the same treaty, so they just decided to write one and call us all the Pawnee Nation. So when we came here to Oklahoma, when you talk about Pawnees, that's who you're talking about, of these four bands. So each one of them, in recorded history, there were probably about 2,000 Chauis, 2,000 Kikahakis, and maybe 1,000 or 1,500 Pitahawidatas. And then our Skeety band, they were a much bigger. Even in recorded history, they had multiple villages, whereas the other bands basically only had one, maybe two villages apiece. And so there was a lot more of the Skeeties than there were the other three. So the other three, they're collectively referred to as the South bands. And it kind of ties in with our origin story. Remember I was telling you about that first man and that first woman and their children. So their children, you have the first man and that first woman, literally they're like the first kind of Skeeties. And then their children become this kind of, I don't want to say tribe, but a separate group of people. And they moved all over into like southeastern Nebraska and Kansas and so forth. And then over time, that's what becomes the South bands.